Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Richard, and let's see, we are here, we are live. Let's see, last time I was live was what, 3 days ago, right before I went to my conference this weekend in San Diego. So today we are going to talk about just some of the what? Hold on, sorry, getting spam notifications. All right, so today on this live, I want to talk about what are some life-changing things I learned this past weekend at my conference. If you're on my Facebook page, you might have seen me talk about a few things. And today, really, what my goal is I want to dive in a little bit deeper on just some of the mindset shifts I've had this weekend. I think I don't know how to say this. It's like I've definitely had some really core things happen for me this weekend, and yeah, I'm just going to share them with you. All right, and then we'll have conversations. We'll do Q&A, stuff like that for anyone else who hops on. D-Lin, good to see you on. I see that you're on, and I see some other people on as well. Although I don't see any faces or things like that. So feel free to say hello or whatever you want to do. But yes, this whole conversation today, I'm going to share a little bit about what I learned, and then after that, like, let's just engage. Let's have conversation. Let's talk about how can we improve ourselves and just become the better version of ourselves. Hi again, Dylan. Okay, so good. I don't know how to say this. Like, I'm very, very grateful for this weekend. So again, this weekend I went to Life on Fire event called Ignite. It's so Ignite conference, if that's what you want to call it. Yes. So Ignite conference. It was in Carlsbad, which is near San Diego, and yeah. Sorry, long intro. I'm going to dive into it right now. So, how do I say this? So when I went to the conference, honestly, I wasn't really in this proper mindset. Like, my mind was not focused on, like, this is what I want to get out of it. Honestly, I went there because my friend Katie Lasky invited me to go, and I'm just like, okay, you know what? I'll go. And when I arrived, I was crossing my fingers and hoping that mentally I would just be ready and, be open to receive information. But what actually ended up happening is when I got to the conference, 3-day conference, literally, like, I went there and I was just completely not open. Like, my mind was closed. I didn't want to learn anything. I didn't want to hear people talk. And I was just very disconnected. I didn't want to say hello to anyone. I just want to isolate myself. And you might be asking why. Why would Richard want to feel just isolate himself and be disconnected? That's a great question. In that moment when I felt disconnected, I really was not sure why I felt that way. I just felt that way. I later kind of figured out, but to be honest, how do I say this? I later figured out a lot about myself this conference. So I'm gonna start with one thing, which is, sorry, excuse me, I gotta get some water. Okay. So there are a ton of things that I've learned this past weekend. I'm going to start with a smaller one, and then right after the smaller one, I'm going to dive into the bigger thing that I learned this past weekend. All right. So number one is if you've ever been in this, if you ever gotten into a space of, like, feeling negative, and you're not really, you don't know why, you just feel negative all of a sudden. It's not because that's who you are. It's because something triggered you. So if you're feeling negative or you're constantly negative, it's because something triggered you. So I was not aware of that until later on throughout the weekend. And so that was, like, big takeaway number one, is that negativity is caused by triggers. So for me, if I were to guess, I'm literally just going to process out loud. On day one, why I felt so disconnected, why I didn't want to talk to anyone, is because I was triggered by something. And if I were to guess, I believe my trigger, which is that negative. Okay, I gotta dive into negative and positive voice. You know how we have, like, the angel and the devil on our shoulders, right? So this weekend I named my devil Felicia. Like, bye Felicia. So that's kind of what I picked up from this conference. So I love the name Felicia because it's very clear to me, that phrase bye Felicia. It's like, pretty much the point is, stop listening to the devil on your shoulder. Stop listening to that negative voice that's always there. And then, you got the angel on your shoulder. Anyway, the problem that we have is, we have the positive, we have the negative voice. And once our Felicia's sitting on our shoulder talking to us, and we say, hey, go away, like, go away, stop talking to us. You know, like, you're annoying, you're not helping me. The problem that a lot of us probably face, I'm going to speak for myself, the problem that I face is that even if I tell Felicia, the negative, you know, the devil on my shoulder, to go away, guess what? Felicia's just chilling there. She's just like, you suck, Richard, like, you know, you're a loser, whatever, like all those negative voices. And honestly, when I'm feeling negative, all that is to me is like literally Felicia is like just on my shoulder and just like, hey, what's going on, Richard? Hey, how's it going? Feeling negative? Yeah, good. Keep feeling negative. I'm not going to tell you why you feel negative. You just feel negative. So literally, it's so annoying that I just feel annoying, but I don't understand why. So again, if you want to understand why you feel negative in a moment, you gotta dig deep and understand what is your trigger. I'm telling you from my own experience, and again, I'm pretty new at this. I'm not an expert of understanding triggers, but I feel like that's kind of what I've learned. So, all right, I'm trying to figure out how fast forward I want to go. But before I fast forward, I will read some comments. Robin says, "Hi, how's your day today? My day is absolutely fantastic today, and thank you for saying that you think I'm so awesome. Like literally, my life has been amazing recently. Like I'm very grateful, and you know, I'm not bragging about it. It's like I've had so much hardship this past year, and I am so surprised of the mindset that I have today. Like I'm focused. I'm eating super healthy this week. I'm going vegan. Like I'm eating vegetables. Like I'm eating real food. I'm not eating anything processed. I'm not eating anything deep fried. And I don't know, like everything comes together. Like everything just goes together so smoothly. Like once you start improving one area of your life, like health, or you know, exercise more, or eat healthier, or wake up, you know, just like build those positive habits, it starts to affect other areas of your life. And I'm talking to my old self a little bit, but it's one thing to hear me say it, you know, and then it's another thing to actually do it. Like so many people in the past 4 years have told me the same thing. You know, hey, once you start eating healthier and stuff like that, you'll feel better. But guess what? For the past 4 years, I was very on and off about this. There are some periods in my life where I did eat healthier and did exercise, and there's a huge majority of my past 4 years where I didn't eat that healthy and I didn't consistently exercise. You know, it's on and off. So to actually start eating healthy, like this is the most disciplined I've been, and I can see the huge radical shifts. So that's really awesome. Katie, good to see you on. I was just talking about you. Yeah, so I was saying how, Katie, you invited me to this conference, Life on Fire, the Ignite conference this past weekend. So, alrighty, so let's dive in. I'm going to dive into kind of the big takeaway that I got this weekend. Hold on. I'm so sorry. There's some comments that I completely ignored. Christine says, yes, I'm in that negative space right now. And then Robin says, what is your advice to start YouTube? Let me see here. I'm trying to be strategic here. So what I'm going to do right now, Robin, I'm going to answer your question after I complete the topic. That way I could fulfill my promise of actually talking about exactly what I'm promising to say, which is life-changing thing that happened this weekend. All right. So I will answer your question right after. Christine. Hey, Rico. Good to see you on. All right. So now we are going to dive into the big lesson that I learned this weekend. And I would say, oh, goodness. This is crazy. Hold on. Before I get to the big lesson, I want to talk about the 3 days. So 3-day conference. What I realized, what's really fascinating for me is like, there's 3 days of conference, right? Day 1, day 2, day 3. Each day, I learned something completely different that was very critical to the success of where I am at in this moment right now. So day 1, I already told you. Day 1, I realized I became aware that kind of what I became aware that if I'm feeling negative, it's because I have my Felicia. You know, I have my Felicia, that negative voice that's overpowering, and that there's triggers. Triggers are things that make me feel negative. And actually, I learned that on day 3. But anyway, I'm gonna say day 1. So that was number 1. Okay. Day 2. This is where day 2. I don't know. This is crazy. All right, I'm gonna bust this out real quick. So day 2 is when I finally surrendered to this idea that I'm actually capable. Like it's in my life, people always say, dude, Richard, like whatever, you can do it. You're a great speaker. You're so inspiring and all this stuff. And I don't say that to brag. I really don't. Why I mention this is because the thing is, it does not matter how much other people think positively of us. What matters is how we think about ourselves. I sound so cliche right now, but this is so true. Like literally, 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 or 1,000,000 people can say, Richard, you are absolutely incredible. Guess what? None of that matters if I don't believe it. And guess what? I have never ever fully embraced how wonderful of a person I am. Like, I have so many insecurities that you don't see on a daily basis. That Felicia voice is there. It is so heavy. It is so powerful. And it's constantly saying, like, Richard, you're not good enough. You can't do it. Like, it's still there. This is why I created this, like a YouTube channel, so I could create content around self-esteem. Why? One, because I'm still working through it myself. And number two, I know pretty much, I almost want to say like everyone, like so many people, many of you, all of us are working through our self-esteem challenges and trying to find that confidence, trying to find that that positive voice inside of us. So, Rumbo, good to see you. I'll get back to your comments. That I missed a few comments. I'll read them after I finish my conversation. So, day number 2 of 3 of the conference. I don't know what it was, but something. I'm going to give credit to the conference. The conference I was at, the Ignite conference by Life on Fire, Nick Unsworth. It made me realize. I don't know. Like, I've done a lot of personal development and gone to a lot of events, but this is the one critical moment in my life where my mind finally shifted and my mind finally surrendered and accepted, Richard, you are capable. Like, you are enough. Like, to me, it sounds so silly that it took me 28 years to finally realize that I'm capable, that I could actually do something. I have achieved a lot in my life in terms of like little wins. For example, one of my biggest achievements was going from 210 pounds all the way down to 147 pounds. Not because I lost a weight, but because I broke a mental barrier that I couldn't do it. Because before, in my mind, I'm like, there is absolutely no way in my life that I could possibly get below 175 pounds because I'm just a fat person. So mindset wise, that was my belief that I'm just going to be overweight my whole entire life. So in that last stretch, when I started going below 175 and then I got down to 160, I was like, holy cow, I can't believe this is happening. Like, literally my mindset was like, dude, you can't do it, Richard. It's impossible. And then 3 years ago when I got down to 147, how do I say this? It was very extreme. Like, I should not be 147 pounds. Like, that's really, really too skinny in my opinion. But the reason I pushed myself to go all the way down there is because I wanted to push myself past, like, I wanted to get over my limiting belief that I couldn't do it. So another goal I set for myself was get a 6-pack. 147 plus a 6-pack, like a mini 6-pack. And I achieved it. Like, I had no idea that was possible. So, okay, so that was 3 years ago, right? Obviously, if you're able to break a mental barrier of like, oh, I can't do it, and then you do it, of course you're going to have confidence in yourself. You're going to be like, dude, if I could do that, I could really do anything. So what's funny is, again, Felicia, that negative voice, is always going to be there. Even if you accomplish some really big task or accomplishment, Felicia's going to be like, hey, cool story, bro. Like, great job. Guess what? You're still not good enough. Like, you still can't do it. You still can't have success in your career. You can't make money. So I'm going to be open. I mean, I'm usually pretty open, but let's dive a little bit deeper. For me, for the past, my speaking journey started about 4 years ago. In the past 4 years, up until now, I can't say I have established my speaking business. Like, literally, I've been struggling to book speaking gigs and make it a full-time career that pays, that I can make a living off of. However, as of this weekend, and if you saw my post on my public post on Facebook, I declared by June 8th, 2018, that I would book 30 paid speaking gigs. So that's 30. I would book 30 paid speaking gigs in 6 months. And I'm going to be very transparent here. In the past 4 years, in terms of fully paid speaking gigs, the ones that are actual like amounts that will support a living, I've booked about 5 or 6. So in 4 years, I've booked about 5 or 6 fully paid speaking gigs. And my goal for the next 6 months is to book 30 of them. I don't know if you can understand how quote unquote crazy that seems, but it's a pretty big stretch. However, if I'm being really honest, and I'm not, okay, this is the part where like I'm taking myself back and I'm not trying to be the hero. And what I'm going to say right now is I already know I could hit 30 speaking gigs in the next 6 months. Like I'm confident with that. So I'm going to move on to day number 2 right now. All right. So day number 2, what did I learn? My big takeaway was, let's see. My big takeaway was doing this one activity where we wrote on a piece of wood. Yeah, I'm prepping the wood. There we go. So we wrote on a piece of wood our biggest limiting belief that we want to break through. So mine, I realized was I am not capable. That's a conversation that I constantly have. I have all of this feeling of like, Richard, you can't do it. Like, you're never ever going to be like your brother and sister. You know, you're never going to make money doing your own business because you're not responsible enough. You're not smart enough. You know, you're not motivated or disciplined enough. So this is the biggest belief that I'm like, I am going to break through. I'm going to break through this belief today. So on day 2, again, we wrote this on this piece of wood. This was mine. And I knew the next step. The next step is we're going to punch. We are going to like karate chop this in a way. Like we're going to like, you know, like punch it out, you know, with palm punch, like right in the middle of it and break our limiting belief. So obviously you can see it's broken, which, you know, obviously symbolizes that I broke through this. So doing this exercise for me was like, it was really, it was very emotional for me. Like everyone has their own experience. You know, maybe some people who are there, they're like, all right, let's just do it because everyone else is doing it. Everyone has a different experience and I'm not judging at all. I've been in some experiences where I go through the experience and I don't really get it. But for this one, right before I broke the board, I'm like, this is not about breaking the board for me. For me, this is like literally, I was so focused. I was like, I'm not standing for that crap anymore. Like, I'm not going to keep telling myself I'm not capable. Like, this is a day where I choose that I am capable, that I could fucking do whatever the heck I want to do. You know, pardon my French. Like, literally, this was the day I'm just like, you know what? Screw this. Like, whatever I set my mind to, I am capable of doing. Now, sometimes I might be afraid, you know, and then give myself excuses and don't achieve my goals. Sure. However, that does not mean I'm not capable. So, day number 2, that was my big breakthrough, that I'm capable. And I want to tell you a little bit about this story. So this board, like, I was so freaking on fire. Like, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna crush this. I want to freaking break this board on my first try. I'm 100% committed to breaking this board. Guess what? I did that, you know? Boom, once. It didn't break. I was like, what? No, like, in my mind, in my heart, I'm just like, I'm 100% committed. Like, how could I have not broken the board on the first try? And part of me, I was like, what is that? Why didn't I break the board? You know, in my soul, I knew, I was like, I'm going to break through this. Attempt number 2. Boom. Nothing. It didn't break. I'm just like, what? Like, this is crazy. Like, why did the board not break? Because mentally, like, I was so on fire. Like, I was so ready. I was so focused. Attempt number 3. Boom. It didn't break. I'm like, okay. And I started thinking to myself, I didn't overthink it because I was so focused on the goal. Like, I knew I got to break it. And by the way, before I even took my first attempt, mentally I was like, I don't care if I break my hand, if my hand is bleeding, I'm going to break through. Why? Because me breaking through this limiting belief that I'm not capable is so much more important than my hand being broken. If my hand is broken and paralyzed for the rest of my life, I will remember that I'm capable. Like, that's how committed I was. I was a little bit crazy, right? In a good way. So anyway, attempt number four. Attempt number four, I calmed myself down. I was like, you know what, Richard, hold on. I'm going to show this visual again. I looked at this board, and I didn't allow anyone in the conference to tell me what to do. Like I didn't. If they said, Richard, okay, you're done, because apparently the rule is if you didn't break this board on your third try, you have to use your foot. Because that's easier. And in my mind, I was like, I'm like, fuck that. Like, if someone tells me I can't break it through my hand with my hand, fuck that. Like, I'm going to do it. I was so committed. Like, I couldn't back out. So on my fourth try, I looked at this board. I am not capable. I stared at it. I kept looking at it, and I knew. I was like, okay, Richard, there are two things you get to focus on in this moment. If you want to break this wooden board, there's two things you need to focus on. Number one, get present on what you want to do. So for me, I kind of meditated for a second. I was like, okay, I want to break through the belief that I'm not capable, because I know I'm fucking capable. So that's number one. The number two is you also have to have some sort of technique in actual breaking it. Like, for example, if I was 100% committed to breaking this board, and my method was throwing a piece of paper at it, obviously this board would not break. So I got really present on, they gave me instructions. Like, in order to break the whole entire board, the thing is you have to visualize your hand going all the way through the board. So I visualized, and on attempt number four, I was like, fuck, like, let's just freaking do this. And I went like, boom, and boom. Oh wait. Boom. So I broke the board on the fourth try. So that was what I learned on day number two, which was that, I am capable. Like, that really sunk into my head. I want to be very clear on something, which is just because I broke this wooden board, just because I had a moment of I am capable, it does not mean that the Felicia won't come back. That negative voice. That negative voice will come back, and I know that. That negative voice will tell you, Richard, you can't do it. You're a fraud. You're not committed enough. You are not disciplined enough. You can't hit your booking 30 speaking goals in the next 6 months, because that's just not who you are. That voice is going to be there. But what I do know, this leads me to day number three, which is so critical. Okay, so day number three, the most important lesson that I learned this whole entire weekend. I learned a lot, by the way. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on. I see so many great questions. I'm going to answer your questions right after I finish this, okay? I'm talking to AKK, and what else? Robin. Who else do I see? Maybe some other ones too. I'll make sure to reply to your comments, all right? So thank you. Sorry. Please be patient. Okay. Day number three. The biggest lesson I learned. So I got to backtrack a little bit. Day number two was hype. Day number two, I was on fire. I was ready to go. I was like, yeah, let's do this. Let's crush this. I'm so ready. After day number two, at the end of it, I drove back home. And honestly, mentally, I was exhausted. I was like, I'm all personal growth out. Like, I've grown too much today. Like, it's so much, just so drained. And literally, after day two, I was like, you know what? Avery, good to see you on. I'll respond to comments in just a second. So on day number two, I was exhausted, and I was just like, you know what? Whatever. Well, I'm just going to see how day three goes. I'm not going to put too much attention to it. I'm just going to see how it goes. So day three comes up. I went to sleep at 3 a.m. So I went to sleep really late. I didn't care. I'm like, you know what? Whatever. Whatever happens, happens. Like, I'm not going to focus on it too much. And guess what? How you feel, I don't know how to say it. It's like pretty much how you feel going into something, even if it's the day before, is how you're going to feel when you're actually there. That's what I've learned this past weekend. So if you feel crappy about, you're visualizing the next day, you're like, oh man, it's going to be a waste of time. I'm not going to get much out of it. Guess what? Chances are that's what's going to happen. Not always, but it's a pretty good indication. So day number three, I was an hour late. I missed, so my group leader, her name is Heidi. She performed on stage, and I knew I wanted to go see her. But guess what? I missed my group leader's performance. She's like my mentor in this whole conference, and she's a singer. So I missed her whole conference, or I missed her whole performance. And I'm just like, in my mind, I felt crappy, you know, like I want to go support her. I wanted to see her. I've never seen her perform before. And I was an hour late. So I get there, and honestly, I didn't want to talk to anyone. I was just like, I was disconnected again. I was like, and this is, again, I was in this negative mindset. And in my past 28 years of being alive, very oftentimes, I get into this negative mindset, and I have no idea why I feel negative. I just feel negative. Again, this is why understanding what our triggers are is super important. We need to understand what's triggering our negativity. Negativity does not just come from anywhere. It comes from our triggers. So understand, what are your triggers. All right, so here's how the third and final day played out. I sat there in the audience, disconnected, didn't want to talk to anyone. I was just waiting for the break time. I was like, all right, once they announced a break, it was a 25-minute break. Why did it pause? Why did what pause? Christine, let me know what paused, all right? So day number 3, first break, 25 minutes long. All I want to do is I want to go piss, because I had to go piss. And then I walked right out the back door, and I'm like, I don't want to talk to anyone. I just want to, be here by myself. Like, I don't want to interact with anyone. And I just felt negative. I didn't want people to ask me questions. I didn't want people to ask, hey, are you okay? Like, I didn't want to talk to anyone. And I was just in that negative space. The problem was, in that moment, I had no idea why I was in that negative space. So here's what happened. As I was sitting out there by myself, away, back door, like the back door that nobody else used, maybe like 1 or 2 other people. As I sat there by myself, I was just kind of like wallowing in my negativity, not really understanding why I felt that way. Trying to distract myself, maybe like scrolling through Instagram or something like that. And then about 5 minutes before break was over, I started walking back inside, like just really slowly. Like I walked so slowly, it was like a man without any intention. Like, it was a man who didn't have any purpose. I just walked so slowly back in because I really didn't care. But I'm like, you know what? I already went 2 days. I might as well finish out this conference and just, see if I could learn anything else. But not very enthusiastic. All of a sudden, one of the coaches of the conference walks outside, and he looks at me. He's like, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, okay. He's like, just okay? I'm like, yeah, okay. He's like, hey, what's going on, Richard? I'm like, I don't know, and I was trying to be honest. I was just, I really don't know. I don't know what's going on. Like, I feel negative. And he tells me, Richard, you do know. And I'm like, what? What do you mean you know? I just said I don't know. And he repeated it again. He's like, Richard, you do know. And I paused for a second. And I thought, maybe I do know. And I paused. And I thought. And all of a sudden, it just hit me. I was like, oh my goodness, I do know. And I started to tear up. I started to tear up because I understood why, like, the fact that I did know. And I started a lot of these thoughts came to my mind, like, why is it that why am I trying to pretend I don't know to myself? This whole time I already knew why I was feeling so negative. The reason why I was feeling so negative is because the day before I made it, I set a goal for myself. I didn't commit to it, but I set a goal. My goal, again, was booking 30 speaking gigs in 6 months. So I need to give you a little bit of context. And the context is, on day number 2, I already knew, again, looking at this, breaking through this thing, I already know that I'm capable. In my mind, I already knew I'm 100% capable of booking 30 speaking gigs in 6 months. But between day number 2 and day number 3, the Felicia came and I had a conversation with me. And the Felicia said, Richard, you're capable, but you're not going to do it because you're not committed enough. You can't do it. Stop. stop trying to set goals, these really big goals for yourself. You know, stop trying to set goals for yourself that you've failed so many times over and over and over again. You already know you're going to fail. Like, stop trying. You know, just lower your expectations, lower your goals. So that conversation came up for me in that moment. I realized in that moment that, like, I was capable of doing it. I was just not willing to put in the work and go through all that hardship, those challenges, in order to hit my goal of 30 speaking gigs in 6 months. So I opened up and I told the coach, I said, hey, look, you know, this is why I'm feeling so negative. So I'm going to go back to triggers. You know, oftentimes we feel really, really negative. We have this negative experience, but we don't understand why do we feel negative. We just feel negative, right? We're not clear. So I guess if you're feeling negative, here's a little tip. If you feel negative, number one is be aware. Be aware that you're feeling negative. Number two is, by the way, if you want to you can write this down if you want to. Number one is, again, be aware that you're feeling negative. Number two is figure out what is the trigger. What is the thought that is causing that negative feeling inside of you? For me, in this moment, it was knowing that I'm capable of accomplishing my goal of booking 30 speaking gigs in 6 months. However, I knew that in that moment I'm like, you know what? I don't have enough discipline to do that. That's too tough for me. That's way too challenging. So how do I say this? That was the trigger. And then the coach who I was talking with in that moment walked through the process with me. He's like, okay, so what's going on? Like, what do you get to do? And I'm just like, well, I know I want to book 30 speaking gigs, but that's just too tough for me. Like, I don't, that's too much stress, like too much pressure. Like, I can't do it. You know, I wanted to say I can't do it, but in my head, I already knew I could do it. I just chose not to do it because it was too hard for me. And so it was too hard was my excuse, you know? So, but he started talking me through the process. And what I realized was, number one, I could do it. And number two, if I really wanted to help students, so my mission in my life is to help teens embrace their insecurities and love themselves. So embrace their insecurities, love themselves, and to live life that is in alignment with who they are. So, you know, live life and be happy. Again, I already know my mission in my life. I want to repeat it again. My mission in my life is to help teens and people in general to embrace their insecurities, to love themselves, and to live life in alignment with who they actually are. So just to be genuinely happy. And in this moment, I realized the only way I can live my mission is if I learn to break through that myself. If I learn how to, how do I say this? If I learn how to break through that belief that I can't do it, I'm not capable, I'm not good enough, and I make the decision to pursue my goal no matter how hard it is. And it was crazy. Like, I feel like a freaking cliche motivational speaker right now. You know, it's like, but seriously, it finally clicks in my mind. Like, you're in this moment right now while we're talking is super magical. Why? This is literally the moment in my life. I've had a lot of little moments, but this is the moment in my life where I finally figured out that I get to do it. I've finally figured out my motivation of why I get to push myself so hard, why I get to push myself through all those uncomfortable, messy, ugly conversations of like, Richard, you can't do it. You're a piece of shit, Richard. Like, you stop trying so hard. You know, like you're a failure. Like, you suck. You can't do it. You know, you tried so many times, you failed so many times, and that's just who you are. You know, so this is that moment where I get to consciously decide, screw that. I don't care if that's been my story. In this moment, I'm choosing to look at my goal, to look at the bigger picture, and to get past it. Because what's going to happen is, if I don't accomplish my goal to book 30 speaking gigs in 6 months, if I don't accomplish it, guess what? The cycle is going to continue. The cycle in my head of, Richard, you can't do it, you're not good enough, you're not capable, you're worthless, is going to continue to perpetuate itself until I make the decision to silence that voice and move forward and accomplish whatever goals I want to accomplish. So that is my big takeaway from this weekend, is that those problems that we have are constantly going to be there. They're going to constantly pressure us. They're going to constantly pester us and say, we're not good enough, or you're not good enough. You can't do it. You're worthless. You know, you don't deserve, you're not capable of making money. You're, what else? What other, I'm trying to figure out like what other thoughts you might have. Don't pursue your passion because, you know, it's scary. You're going to fail. Stay safe in your job that you have. Or I don't know what it is, like you're not going to go to Stanford or Yale or that school that you want to go to. So don't even try, you know? So it's like until like we get to break through that conversation that we have in our head. That's what I realized. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. Again, sorry for holding off the comments. I just want to get through what I was going to say. And I talk a lot. What I will say is I am a baby. I'm a baby on this topic, meaning I'm still learning. You just heard a very raw version of my transformation that actually happened. But guess what? I'm going to screw up. In the next 6 months, as I'm pursuing my Booking 30 speaking gigs. By the way, if you know any school administrators or activities directors who want to hire a speaker, right here. Anyway, this next 6 months, I already know is not going to be completely smooth sailing. However, I don't want to set the intention that it's going to be tough, because if I think it's going to be tough, guess what? It's going to be tough. So right now, my mindset, I'm focusing on the positive voice. I'm focusing on, you know what? It's going to be easy. That's my mindset. Booking 30 speaking gigs is going to be easy. Because why? Because I'm not here to make money, you know? I'm going to make money, but I'm not here to make money. My purpose in Booking 30 speaking gigs is, let's see, number one, sure, create financial stability. But that's not like, I say that's number one, but it's also not number one. I don't know if that makes sense. Because I know my bigger vision in my life, my bigger purpose is to help teens and people, let's see, embrace their insecurities, love themselves, and to, I'm still working on like really clarifying this. Embrace their insecurities, love themselves, and ultimately live a happy life where they're aligned with who they are and what really makes them happy and joyful. I know that's my vision. So what I get to do is I get to do that for myself, which is why I'm booking 30 speaking gigs. And yeah, like I already know my purpose. Like I already know it's like, it's more than just money. So I know when I speak to a school that it's, you know, I'm there to serve. So that's what I have. Faye, thank you for the comment. Great insights. Alrighty. So that wraps up the conversation of what I learned this past weekend. Again, I'm going to recap super quickly, and then I'm going to get to your questions and comments. All right. Thank you so much for being patient with that. All right. So again, conference was 3 days. Day number one, I learned about the negative voice that we have that's always persistent and always there. The only way to silence that is to focus on the positive voice, not just the positive voice, but focus on the voice that's going to get you to your vision. Okay. So ignore that negative voice that's putting so much pressure on you and telling you that you can't do it. Okay. It's going to be there. It's going to be really, really loud and annoying. Like, you can't do it. You can't do it. You know, it's going to be freaking annoying. Like, set that aside. You know, don't focus on that one. It's going to be there, but don't give it attention. The more attention you feed it, the more nutrients it gets. You know, if you keep feeding this negative voice and allowing it to be a part of your life, it's going to stay there and just keep talking shit on you. You know, focus on the positive one, the one that's focused towards your vision, the one that's aligned with who you are. If you don't know what your vision is, we can have another conversation about that. Like that's something that I've kind of figured out. Hold on, I'm still working through, but I've gotten some tools around that. So we can talk about that later. All right. So focus on the positive voice, the vision one, because that's what's going to get you out of the negativity. Just stop focusing on the negative. Seriously, like that's pretty much it. All right. Day number 2 is just know that you're capable. You know, that these stupid beliefs, the ones that are in deep down in the back of your head, the one that says I'm not capable or you're not capable, You can't do it. You're not good enough. You're fat. You're not attractive. You don't deserve to be married. You don't deserve to have that job you want. You're not responsible. All those negative voices, those are just stories, lies that we tell ourselves. And in reality, we are capable, you know? So that's day number 2. And lastly, day number 3 is notice the triggers. If you have that negative voice in your head, notice what is triggering it. Negativity comes from our triggers, okay? Negativity doesn't just pop out of nowhere. It comes from a certain trigger. The trigger is a thought that you have that is perpetuating that negativity, all right? So be aware of it. Pause. Like literally, if you feel negative, pause. And don't feel super anxious. Just pause and think about, okay, what's triggering this? What's causing me to feel negative? There's always something, all right? And dig deeper. And if you have a hard time, if you get stuck, reach out for help. Talk to a friend, a trusted friend, someone who knows how to go through that process. Or talk to me, you know? It does take someone who has practice with this kind of stuff, you know, because you want to be able, it's a practice. Being able to dig deep and be self-aware is a practice. So there we go. That's 1, 2, and 3. All right. Thank you for being so patient. I'm going to get the questions right now, finally, after like 30 minutes or so. Alrighty. And I'm sorry. I hope everyone is still on from 30 minutes ago. Let's see. Let's do this. I'm excited to answer questions. Okay, so Robin, I don't know if you're still on. I hope you are, but I think these questions will help and serve other people. What is your advice to start YouTube? My advice to start YouTube is very simple. Start making videos. That's it. Choose a date. Like literally just pick a date. You don't even need to have a topic. Just choose a date. No more than 1 or 2 weeks at most. You can choose a date 3 days from now. Choose a date, post a video. That's it. That's my advice. If you want to learn how to start a YouTube channel, just freaking post a video. It's that simple. The more you hesitate, the more you get stuck in your head, the more you allow yourself to make excuses. So Robin, I want to ask you right now. I think you're still on because I can see your questions. I want to ask you right now. When are you going to post your first video? All right, Robin, I'm gonna look forward to that response. All right. So Robin, again, when are you committed to posting your first video? And what I want you to do is when you post your first video, shoot me an email of the link of the video. Okay, that's what I want from you. Literally, that's how you get started. That's how I got started. Literally, I had someone else, you know, what's that phrase? Just throw me in the fire. Someone threw me in the fire. Like they're like, all right, Richard, when are you gonna post your first video? I'm like, in a week. He's like, okay, what day? Friday. Okay, what time? 5. All right. So you're gonna send me an email by 5 p.m. Is that right? Yeah. So I was super nervous and hesitant, but once I did that, look, it's been 3.5 years, 4 years now since I posted my first YouTube video, and I've been posting videos pretty much every single week since. And that's how you start a YouTube channel. All right. Alrighty. Kevin Kim, good to see you on. Alrighty, so let's dive into this. More questions, lots and lots of questions. All right. Do you know how to make thumbnails? Yes, I know how to make thumbnails. Honestly, like I'm such a bad marketer. Like I'm not here. I don't like being so strategic. I don't know. Being strategic is going to give you more views and stuff like that. But for me, I care about the heart. You know, I care about the actual content more. So if you want to figure out how to make thumbnails, honestly, go look at the top YouTubers, look at their thumbnails and see how they do it and copy, replicate what they do. Because literally that's success. If you want to be successful, just emulate someone who's already successful. That's the easiest way to be successful. All right. That's not my MO, so I'm just going to stick with me. All right, Robin, what do you think about people who have Down syndrome? Let's see. Do you think that people who have Down syndrome could have a YouTube page? Hell yeah, of course. There is a YouTuber that has that I know that has Down syndrome. Shoot, I can't remember. Anyway, I remember this person. Like this person has far more subscribers than I, like millions of subscribers. And like, because they, how do I say this? They embrace their disabilities. You know, they just like, fuck it, like let's just have fun with it. That's it. So yes, I don't care who you are. Anyone can have a YouTube channel. Absolutely. Like, yeah, I think having a disability or Down syndrome, like whatever it is almost like an advantage in a way. Um, you know, it makes you unique. So there we go. Like seriously, there's nothing that should stop anyone from starting a YouTube channel. Like it's just, if you feel insecure about it, that's perfectly okay. Talk about your insecurities. Everyone deals with insecurities, and guess what? The fact that if you are, the more insecure you are, the more you should start it. Okay, let me rephrase that. The more insecure you are, the more you should be starting a YouTube channel. Why? Because people need to hear your voice. People need to hear from that person who is super insecure and scared. Why? Because everyone else is scared to do it. So, you know, when you step into your courage and be like, you know what? I'm so nervous. I'm so insecure. I can't do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to start a YouTube channel. Guess what? It's going to be awkward. It's going to be messy. You know, your first videos are not going to be the sexiest. Although maybe it might be. Who knows? Yeah. You're going to screw up. You're going to embarrass yourself. I embarrassed myself when I started my YouTube channel. And guess what? Like, I did my best. I tried to be a perfectionist. And my perfectionism turned into a little bit of inauthenticity. It came off a little bit fake. But I've learned to get over it. And it took me 4 years. I'm here today, a little bit more authentic than I was 4 years ago. So, yeah, it's a process. Let yourself grow. It's part of the journey. All right. What do you think about building a hardcore work ethic? Do it. You know, like, I'm going to be honest. Like, I used to make a ton of excuses that, you know, oh, that's just not who I am. You know, I'm a very heart-centered person. And guess what? I still align myself with a very heart-centered approach. And I still struggle with that. Like, you know, how hardcore should I be with my work ethic? And honestly, it's like, you also need to look at what's your vision, what's your goal. You know, once you get really clear on what your vision of your life is, that work ethic is just going to come. Like you're going to get pulled. You're not going to get pushed. You're going to get pulled towards that vision. You're going to get pulled to work your butt off, because if your vision is that clear, then that's what's going to happen. But I'm going to speak for most of us who don't have a super clear vision, and that's okay. Let's talk about work ethic again. In terms of work ethic, keep developing your work ethic. Like you can never go wrong by pushing yourself to do things when you know you should be doing it, but you don't feel like it. Like that work ethic is so invaluable. It's never going to lose value. Like seriously, like I'm going to take school for an example. If you're a student in school and you hate school, you hate studying, but you know you should be getting good grades, guess what? When you push yourself to get good grades or the best grades, as good of grades as possible, you're building work ethic. And like that little tool of pushing yourself even when you don't feel like it, we're like, oh, this sucks, I don't want to study, like, or this sucks, I don't want to run, run an extra 5 minutes or do that extra rep in the gym, whatever it is. When you push yourself to do it, you're going to build resilience. You're going to build that mental toughness, and that's going to get you so far in your life. So that's what I have. I'm as quote unquote strong mentally as I am. Honestly, I still feel like I'm weak too. You know, I am strong and I am weak. What I really mean by this is, I have accomplished some level of mental strength. However, I have so much more to go. You know, I'm not going to label myself as that really strong work ethic person. I struggle a lot every single day. So I'm still working on it. Alrighty, let's see. Excuse my language. Let's see. I have Avery, if you're still on. Let's see. You had a rough past few weeks. It's really nice to see your face again. Thank you for being on, and I hope that your week continues to get better. And hopefully, if you were listening to this conversation, that it might give you some ideas of how you can change that negativity into positivity. One other tip that I'm going to give on this video, I don't want to give too many more because we've talked a lot already. But one thing that I'm coming to realize is environment is so important. You know, the people we surround ourselves is so important. So if you have a negative parent or friend or something like that, just be mindful of it. You know, it doesn't mean, I know sometimes we can't control the fact that we live with our parents or whatever it is, but be mindful of the time you spend with these negative influences, these toxic people, because they will weigh you down. Yeah, so I'm speaking from firsthand. Like, I realize, like, you gotta distance yourself from negative people. It's gonna suck so much energy from you, more energy than you realize. So stick around the positive, you know. And if you're a negative person, that's okay. Sorry, hold on. If you feel negative a lot of the time, you're not a negative person. But if you feel a lot of negativity in your mind, um, hang out with more positive people and continue to work through that. Continue to focus on that positive energy. Not fake. Don't try to pretend that negative voice isn't there. If you pretend that negative voice isn't there and you cover it up with a rug or some dirt, it's still going to be there. It's still going to bother you. So this is a process. It's like, in a way, you got to embrace your challenges, embrace that Felicia. You got to embrace and be like, hey, I acknowledge you. I'm not saying you're not here. I know you're here. I love you. I don't love what you do to me, but I love you. You know, I acknowledge you are here. I love you, but I'm not going to let you control my thoughts. I love you, but I'm going to put you back there. You know, I'm going to put you off to the side because you're not serving me right now. All right. So you hang out over there. I care about you. I love you, but I'm going to focus on this positive thought because that's what's going to make me happy. That's what's going to get me towards my vision or my goals. Okay. So that's kind of what I realized on my journey. Like, don't pretend it's not there. The more you pretend it's not there, it's still going to be there. All right. So you gotta build your relationship with your negative thoughts and respect it and let it sit over there. So that's what I'm learning. All right. Why did it pause? Let's see. What is your favorite part of being a YouTuber? Let's see. Okay. So my favorite part of being a quote unquote YouTuber is that I just get to connect with all of you. That I get to, like, literally, YouTube is a platform for me to live my life passion. You know, it's my mission. When I create these videos, I know it's only a handful of people. Like right now, between two channels, like it's right now there's 14 people on, which is actually a little bit more than usual. Usually I have like 8 to 9 people on. Anyway, so I love doing YouTube videos because, one, like, so many of my passions are combined all in this 1 hour. Number one, I get to connect with you. You know, I get to, whatever you want to call it, inspire, teach, you know, give people perspective, allow other people the space, allow you to create a space of question, allow you to maybe be inspired or have this different idea. You know, so I'm giving. It makes me feel good. Number two, why I love being a YouTuber is because another passion of mine is growth. I love growing. I love learning. So when I speak out loud, guess what? Not only am I sharing information with you, I'm also growing myself. And number 2.5 or 3 is I just enjoy having conversations. You know, it just helps. Shoot, this is so redundant, but really it just helps me grow. Like, I love being able to connect, because if I wasn't making YouTube videos, I would be pursuing my passion and my mission less. You know, I wouldn't be creating content, and that means I'd be in my room doing my own thing. And so, yeah, again, this is my outlet to give, which is a huge part of my life. All right. Sorry for that long answer. I shouldn't say sorry, though. Alrighty. What's my favorite thing to do for fun? That's a great question. How do I say this? Okay, so I'm going to answer this question indirectly. And my answer as to what do I like to do for fun is, my fun is living my life mission and my purpose, which is creating content, learning, growing myself so I can give back. Like, when I'm on fire, like I am right now, I get really focused on my mission, and that's like all I see. But hold on. So that's kind of my cheat answer. Like, but it's so real. Like, my recreational stuff, like that stuff is on the side. Like, I'm just focused. Like, I want to be right here, right now. So to answer your question, what do I do for fun? Goodness, I feel like it's so rare that I have like outside fun, but not saying that I don't have fun. Every single day I have fun doing whatever the heck I'm doing right now, you know? But so besides speaking at schools and making YouTube videos and stuff like that, what I do for fun is play basketball. I enjoy the outdoors, going hiking, and what else? I enjoy hanging out with friends. You know, like things that are just allow me to feel connected in some way, whether with nature, with people, or maybe with my body, such as playing basketball. So that's my answer for what I do for fun. Alrighty. Okay, so why are people so scared to start YouTube? Because they're afraid of being judged. They're afraid of the troll, the negative comments. You know, that's why people are scared. What else? They're afraid. There's a lot of different reasons, but I'm gonna stick with that. That's the biggest reason. I think it's important to enjoy to be yourself. Yes, I agree. How would you stop an addiction? Frost Gaming says, how would you stop an addiction? Number one is awareness. So the fact that you're asking the question, how would you stop an addiction, probably means that you have some sort of addiction. So step number one is awareness, knowing. Number two is, I guess in a way, just, how do I say this? Really, it's a choice. It's like setting an intention that, you know what, I am going to, I want to work on this addiction. You know, I want to stop playing video games so much, or I want to stop smoking so much, or overeating, or watching too much Netflix, or whatever it is. And it's a conscious choice. It's like, I'm going to stop doing this. Why? Because figuring out your why is important too. So if you have an addiction, figure out why it's important for you to stop doing that negative habit of yours. All right. So yes, hopefully that helps. If anyone has any questions about how to stop addictions, feel free to shoot me a message or email, richard@richardco.com. All right. Let's see. All right. AKK says, thanks. That was enlightening. One more cue. How do you deal with being overwhelmed and behind in life? So if you're feeling, if you're feeling overwhelmed and behind in life, number one, what I'm hearing you say is that you have a certain expectation of where you should be in your life. So if you feel behind, that means your expectation is you're behind. You need to be more forward, or advance in your life than you actually are. So if you're feeling behind or overwhelmed, my, I guess, tip for you is, like, how do I say this? Like, be calm with yourself. You know, like, know that it's okay to be behind. Like, don't give yourself that pressure of like, oh shoot, I'm behind, I got to catch up, and oh my goodness, I'm going to fail. And like, when you stress yourself out like that, you're going to continue to be behind. Let's see. When you feel overwhelmed, give yourself permission to just stop and relax, stop and meditate, stop and just, I almost want to say, enjoy this current moment. All right. So there we go. Again, if you have more questions, feel free to shoot me a message or email me, richard@richardquo.com. Let's see, Robin, thank you for the compliment that you love my videos. Let's see, my favorite movie. This is tough. So I'm not much of a movie watcher, but I've watched plenty, a good amount of movies in the past. I wish I actually wrote down a list of my favorite movies. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head. I like Back to the Future trilogy. I remember when I was in college, I saw my friend or my roommate watching Back to the Future. I'm like, dude, why are you watching this 1989 film, like this super old film? And he's like, it's good. I'm like, dude, there's so many amazing modern movies. Why would you watch this? And I sat there, and I'm his roommate, so I'm in the room. I'm kind of like lying down on my bed, about to sleep, and I watched it with him. And I'm just like, holy cow, like, I love this movie. And ever since, Back to the Future has been one of my favorite movies. So that's the trilogy. I love all three movies. What else? Goodness, I'm blanking out. I like 21 Jump Street. There's some movies that are like Now You See Me. I love the flow of that movie. Like, it's so smooth. I love how it engages the audience. It's like the opening scene of the movie is like he's like flipping through the deck of cards. Is like, okay, pick a card, any card, like whatever. Like, don't tell me what it is. And he flips it out, and in the movie, he picks your card, and I was like, holy, like I know how it works, but like I was so impressed by how they executed that. I'm just like, for so many audience members, like that would blow their mind. Like, how the heck? I'm an audience member. How did you guess my card? So I love the whole flow of Now You See Me. You know, it's not one of those impressive, uh, oh yeah, moments. Hey, Christine. So let's see. Christine just reminded me that another one of my favorite movies, my favorite animated film is Inside Out because I love the whole conversation about emotions and it talks a lot about psychology. So I love that movie. It's a super cute movie. Thank you. Okay. All right. All right. Hold on. I'm gonna wrap up with these questions, and then after that, I will head off. So let's see. My favorite music. I'm gonna start with my favorite music genres, which are I would say EDM and alternative rock. So I would say my how do I say this? My heart, my soul is more in alternative rock, and then I do enjoy EDM as well. So some examples. I love let's see, Coldplay, Mumford and Sons. Let's see, One Republic, Muse, Yellow Card. What else? Linkin Park. Uh, let's see, Imagine Dragons. Who else? I don't know. Death Cab for Cutie. I'm trying to like just dig deep. There's so many. I'm missing so many artists I really like, but those are just a few to name some. In terms of EDM, EDM, electronic dance music, is like for me. I enjoy a lot of it. I enjoy like my favorite one, current one is Illenium. Who else? Alesso, Kygo. I always mix those up. Why are they always so hard to pronounce? Let's see. There's a lot of them. So yeah, yes, I'm gonna stick with that one right now. All right, so those are my two favorite genres. Frosty, I'll get to your comment. I'm gonna read them in a row, and I'm almost there actually. All right, let's see. AKK, last one. What is your advice on having a split personality, one that is lethargic and wasteful, and one that is diligent? Um, I'm not 100% sure what you mean by that. Like, are you self-diagnosing yourself with like multiple personality disorder, or are you just saying that you have moments where you feel very lethargic and wasteful and like unproductive, and other times where you feel very diligent and focused? AKK, I'm just letting you know that that is super common. I believe majority of us feel that way. There's parts where we feel super lazy and really unproductive, and there's parts where we feel very focused and diligent. So ultimately, I believe the goal is to push ourselves and continue to better ourselves to the point where we are consistently aligned with what feels good to us. So in general, that means being disciplined and getting really focused and diligent and accomplishing your work, and then giving yourself permission to have those breaks, free time, vacation, that kind of stuff. So if you feel like you're lazy sometimes and then you're also very productive sometimes, continue to challenge yourself, push yourself to be more productive. Not because I'm telling you have to, but rather I believe when we feel productive, that's when we feel more happy. We feel more in control of our life. This goes down to mindset. It's all how do you create a mind? How do you create a schedule that you feel really good about? I feel like life is all about feeling good about ourselves and what we do. Do I like to read books? I know I'm reading a little out of order here. Do I like to read books? I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not much of a book reader. However, I like to learn. And what I realized for me, how I like to learn is through YouTube videos. And I'm just going to go ahead and answer this question. So people always ask me like, who are my favorite YouTubers? And it always changes. In this moment, thank you, Christine. In this moment, one of my favorite YouTubers is Tom Bilyeu, which is his podcast / YouTube channel is called Impact Theory, and it talks a lot about personal development. I love what he stands for. I love his work ethic. I love that he's so honest and real, and like literally, he's only recently become a role model of mine. So that's something that that's really cool for me. Alrighty, let's get back to these. Okay. All right. Hey, Henry. Good to see you on. Robin, thank you for that compliment. I really appreciate you engaging. You're asking so many awesome questions I really enjoy. And I'm glad this video is helping you out. Frost Gaming, do I play video games? So I do not play video games right now. I've played video games in the past, definitely. League of Legends was probably the more recent video game that I played. I played League of Legends for at least 5 years. I haven't committed to never playing video games ever again. But in this moment, I just have made a decision for my life that I'm not going to play video games because I'm just really focused on my passion and my vision and my purpose of helping teens and young adults, accept or embrace their insecurities, love themselves, and and just live life in alignment with who they actually are. And that's something that I'm working on myself in this moment. Leah, good to see you on. Thanks for hopping on. Alrighty. Okay, Christine says, I'm really in a bad place in my life right now. I have finals in 2 weeks. I have a really bad image of myself. I don't think I can do it. I just feel like shit. But I'm going to do it. Christine, that's awesome. Let's see. I want to comment on a few things here. Number one, good luck with your finals. Just know, how do I say this? This is such a... negative self-talk is such a paradox because the more we focus on our negative self-talk, the worse off we become. So Christine, if you start focusing on your positivity and trusting yourself that you can do it, guess what? You're actually going to do much better. It's so crazy. So I want to give you a quick example. Anyone who's on right now. I've been on the speaking journey for 4 years. And for the past 4 years, every single time I want to get booked, I want a school or a conference to book me to speak, guess what? My conversation is, my speaking is not good enough. Or my conversation might be, well, I don't think like I provide that much value. Or, you know what, I'm not good enough. These are real conversations I have. And that's why in the past 3 to 4 years, I have not booked that many speaking gigs. However, I recently, like this weekend, pretty much, made a decision and I finally shifted my mindset into, you know what? I can do it. My presentation is valuable. The words I have to say are valuable. I already know my worth. I know that my words, my message is not only really powerful, but also I'm going to provide a lot of value. So one of it, of course, you have to have that competency. You have to, in your case, you have to be able to build up those skills, like study skills or knowledge. But the second piece of it is you got to build up that self-esteem and understand that you are capable, that you actually can do it. So continue working on that. This is something that takes time. All right. Just know that you can do it. If in terms of your body image, I don't know how to say this. Body image takes time as well. Just know that you are beautiful. Know that you are gorgeous. You are powerful. You are wonderful. And I'm not saying this just to be cheesy, but it's genuinely true. Every single human being is beautiful and wonderful. Maybe some might, if you take a poll, some might be more physically attractive than others. Sure, I'm not disagreeing with that. However, your physical appearance is not everything about you. It's just one piece of you. And honestly, physical appearance to me is kind of BS. It's so surface level. Sure, if I look at someone oh shoot, she's actually really attractive. Cool, great, good for her. Guess what? I don't really care about that stuff. What really matters is what's deep down inside. Who are you as a person? So Christine, let's see, Christine with an H, because there's another Christine that does not have an H that's on right now. Just know that you can do it and you're beautiful already. And you just got to find that beauty within yourself. Okay. And I'm going to be very clear here. Guess what? I struggle with the same problem you do too. I know what to tell you, but sometimes I don't practice what I preach because it's a journey I'm still working through. And I got to tell myself, I got to watch this video again and tell myself the same thing. Richard, you're beautiful. You can do it. You're capable. You can do it. And just trust and push through and focus on that positivity. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. Do I have a schedule for my videos? So yes, currently I pretty much live stream every single day at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, unless I'm busy or I have something going on, okay? So that's kind of the new schedule. Every single day, pretty much 7 days a week, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's Californian time, all right? So you can expect me to see me on tomorrow. Yeah. Alrighty. Avery, good to see you on again. And good luck with your finals. Tea and Cream, same, except they're tomorrow. Tea and Cream, good luck with your finals. And let's see, Robin, last question says, I sometimes tell myself that I am stupid, but I am not. I agree. Nobody is stupid. Like literally, it's the more we put ourselves down, the more we tell ourselves we're stupid, the stupider we become. Like this is really how our brains work. You know, it's yeah. We can. This is a longer conversation that we can dive into next time too. All right, Christine. Christine says, all true. I will continue working on that. Thanks so much. You have no idea how much you are influencing me. It sounds madly cliche, but still thanks. Honestly, things that sound cliche are, even though they sound cliche, honestly, I feel like if it sounds cliche, it's probably because it's true. It's weird how that works because we are so, as a society, we are so tired of hearing cliche things. But if it's cliche, chances are it's true. Not always, but yeah. Okay, cool. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for hopping on. I had a wonderful conversation. We went over a little over 10 minutes, which is cutting off my time to hang out with this awesome other person, also named Christine. But yeah, I'm going to hop off. I'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. There's so much to talk about right now. Like, I haven't even talked about, health. By the way, I feel amazing. I've been eating vegan for this past week. Feels amazing. Like, just my skin feels light. I feel glowy, even if I don't know if you could tell, but like I feel much better. We can talk about sleep. We can talk about why sleep is important. I used to not care about sleep, but I've calculated the hours of sleep that I sleep every single night, and I've noticed that. So I've measured every single day this past week. I've been measuring how many hours of sleep I'm sleeping. And on a scale 1 through 10, what is my energy level throughout the day? And I realized sleep is super important. I used to think it was just like some random trick, but literally 1 to 2 hours of sleep more makes such a big difference in energy level. Okay, so that's what I have. Thank you so much. Love you all. Take care. Bye. See you tomorrow, 8 p.m.